Hello friends, welcome to my channel and the latest in my series of videos on the Decans, and today I'm looking at the Seven of Swords, and that runs from the 8th, 9th of February to the 17th, 18th of February, so basically yesterday. Yeah, the Seven of Swords, the moon and the stars, which is, it sounds lovely, doesn't it? The moon stars. In fact, since my niece was could talk, really, we always told each other that we loved each other, moon stars and chocolate bars. It was our little thing. And it is I actually, the last Christmas card I got from her, there you go, moon stars and chocolate bars. Lovely. And there we go, look at that, how pretty is that? Yeah, I'm so lucky. So anyway, and also I went to book my hair appointment the other day, and I picked up a business card from the beauty place next door, Goddess by Nature they're called. And look at that moon and stars. It's on the back as well, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? What a beautiful, beautiful business card. Yes, anyway, so my experience with the Seven of Swords. Let's talk about it. So, astrology, moon and stars, as I just said. So it's the moon in Aquarius, and Aquarius is the star card, which is where the association comes in. And I've talked about the star card before, talked about the High Priestess before. But it's strange how things work when they come together in different sort of sequences. So anyway, because the moon is in Aquarius, there's a lack of illumination, isn't there? We can't see. Obviously, we can't see. There's no sun here. It's the moon and the stars. So it's a bit dim. It's a bit shady. I always think about this guy as Sneaky Pete. That's my little name for the image on that card. Sneaky Pete. So the High Priestess, I always think about the High Priestess as the shady lady. And then we're trying to actually find our way through all this maze just by the light of the stars. So we're trying to navigate our way through this time. So the High Priestess has lots of secrets. She's got the veil, the curtain behind her. We don't know what's behind that curtain. She has water, she has the moon, crescent moon, and then the moon on her headdress as well. And the pomegranates, which sort of harkens to Persephone going into the underworld. And the moon is changeable, isn't it? It's never the same. Every night you look at the moon and it's in a different phase. So it's also linked to emotions. I mean, on the full moon, a friend of mine, she worked at Accident and Emergency, and she said their busiest night were always on the night of the full moon, because it is linked to emotions. And Aquarius is like a very inventive sign, but the problem is the moon makes Aquarius indecisive, unsure of what they want. It's sort of can't finish what they start. So the moon is sort of overshadowing here the intellect and having quite a detrimental effect on it. Let's talk a little bit about the number 7 itself and its links to the major arcana. So in the major arcana, 7 is the number of the chariot, and this is the year of the chariot, because numerologically the year adds up to the number 7. 2023, 357, yeah, adds up to number 7, and so this is the year of the chariot. And I was watching a video, there's a hashtag, my favourite chariot card, something like that. And Antoinette's Intuitive Tarot and Jewellery highlighted as one of her cards the Vice Versa Tarot from this deck here, Vice Versa Tarot. And you get, as you would expect, the front and the back of the tarot card. So the first thing that struck me about this card and the front side is the fact that the charioteer here is being guided intuitively, if you look at the forehead, by the stars. So that's got a direct link there to the star card. And the star on the forehead and crown chakra there, so the third eye in the crown chakra, is actually the pole star. It's linked to Cancer. You can see the moon phases on each shoulder, and on the back of the card you can actually see the glyph for Cancer there. So again, that links us to the High Priestess, who's also ruled by Cancer. Nice links there. And if you look at the back of the card, you can see there's absolutely no going back. We've got to go forward. There's no choice, because the road behind us is crumbling and the chains that held us back have been broken. And also we've got a rune there which is Rado. Now Rado, this book here, Leon D. Wild, the Runes Workbook, I pulled this one out just as an example, is the rune of right order, and it's linked to riding, which is really interesting, isn't it? It is said is the worst for horses. And it says here, meaning Rado is the rune of riding. Develop balance and be reasonable. To be a good rider, you need to consider the horse, your balance, the environment, and where you are going. You need to be aware of your environment, both physical and emotional. I think that links really, really well, not only to the Chariot, but also to the Seven of Swords. So we really need to think about finishing what we start, which is really a key meaning for me on the Seven of Swords. So here in the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the Seven of Swords, we've got Sneaky Pete here holding 5 swords but leaving 2 behind. The suit of swords is about the mind, mental capacity, mental thoughts, words, that sort of thing. And so if I see these as the different subjects that I'm really, really interested in, then it's obvious to me that I can't study all 7 subjects, and I've got to leave a couple behind, because otherwise I'm just going to have a surface knowledge of each one. And we see the tense here as a temporary structure. They're not a permanent structure at all. So the knowledge that I gain if I try and do all 7 subjects, I'm saying 7 because the 7 swords is not actually 7 subjects, to be honest, but just as a metaphor here. So if I try to do all 7 subjects, I'm only going to get a surface knowledge of what they are all about. There's no deep meaning there, and it won't stay in my mind. It'll be temporary. I won't be able to actually retain that knowledge and feel at home with it, because these are not a permanent home. They're not bricks and mortar. They can be disassembled and move on. If we look at it another way, as I gain my knowledge and feel at home with each subject, then I can wrap it up and bring it along with me to the next stage of my journey, but still retain the information, he's looking back here, that I've gleaned from these subjects. So maybe I've gone into depth in these 2 subjects here, and I know all about those. They're in my mind. They'll always stay in my mind. I can always come back to focus on them, and then I can pick up the next subjects and go and learn those. So there's that. And these guys may have already learnt these subjects, and I can go and find out from them their knowledge, what they know through books, through study, whatever, and take that knowledge away with me to further my own understanding. So that's one way I sort of looked at it. Another way I looked at it is having a foot in 2 camps, because he's got 1 foot there, 1 foot there. He's sort of going forward but still looking backwards here. And so, I mean, the way a lot of tarot readers approach this card is one of being fooled, of being taken advantage of, lies, gossip, something going on behind your back, which certainly ties in with our High Priestess and our Star card. So the moon and the stars, it does tie in with that. But I thought I'd sort of like think about this in different ways, really. And so, yeah, foot in two camps. So that could be maybe transitioning from one job to another. So maybe still working for one person while also planning to leave and work somewhere else, but not telling these guys that off you go. And of course, you know, the old marital or relationship problem where you're being cheated on is another way of seeing this card. I understand that, but this isn't where I'm going with it. So yeah, with the subjects, carrying 5 wouldn't be easy, but carrying 7 subjects, you know, all 7 would be absolutely impossible. You just wouldn't be able to retain that information. So that's where I was sort of going with that one. Milo Decan calls this the card of unreliability, and the Golden Dawn call it the Lord of Unstable Effort. And it doesn't look very stable, does it? So I thought now we will go on to... Oh, just before I do, I also watched another video and I thought that was quite interesting as well. Mixtress Ray, I think was the YouTube channel. Again, I'll link it below. But what they were saying was that maybe if we go from the 6 of Swords where we're in the boat crossing the river, if this is the dock, then maybe this guy here, we're talking about mentality again, is taking away our worries and just leaving us with a couple to contend with, because we couldn't carry all of them in our head. It was just weighing us down and making us depressed and unhealthy and unwell. And so this lovely guy here has taken them on board for us. Maybe this is a counsellor or some sort of therapist, maybe. So I thought that was a lovely, lovely way of looking at this card. I really appreciated that viewpoint. So let's have a little look at the Thoth card. So in the Thoth system, this is the Lord of Futility. And here we've got futility written on the bottom of the card. And we see we've got one central sword being attacked by another 6. And according to the Mirror of the Soul by Gerd Ziegler, there we go. This is really, really interesting, because all these 6 swords here are the planets. We've got the moon there, Aquarius there, and this central sword here is the sun. Okay, so if you think of the sun as clarity, illumination, knowing what you want, knowing where you're going, it's being attacked here by these other swords with these planetary glyphs, and these relate to our negative thinking. What stops us from getting where we want to go? Why do we give up when we're nearly there? So let's have a look. I think this is just so brilliant. So, okay, we have, let's have a look. We've got the moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury and Saturn. And of course, the moon is on top of Aquarius. So it's got dominance. It's dominating the Aquarian spirit here. And so Neptune means, in a discouraging way, Neptune is everything seems to be clouded by a film or veil. I just don't know what I really want. Venus, but it's just too good to be true. Mars, I haven't the energy, there's no time, I'm really too old. Jupiter, that's too much good at once, I could never cope with so much success. Mercury, but I just can't convey it properly. Saturn, it's simply too much trouble and it takes too long. And he says these literally destructive thoughts need to be taken seriously. The reality is somewhat different from your present perception of it. Soon you will be able to laugh over your own doubts. So these are all about self-doubt. And self-doubt means we just can't achieve what it is Aquarius likes to achieve. We're being actually overridden by emotions, negative thinking. And this is really well illustrated in the Cosmic Tarot. This one here, the Cosmic Tribe Tarot. Take a look at this. If you look at, let's zoom out a little bit. So this is the Ace of Swords from the Cosmic Tarot. And we've got the eye open here. Clouds have parted. And we're going towards the truth. The seed of truth. But when we get to the 7 here, we've still got the eye in the sword and the wings that wanting to fly. Here we've got the sun, you know, clarity. It's all there, it's clear. But here we've got all these other swords, the other 6 swords, that have come in like clouds of negative thinking. So it's clouding our judgment. I thought that was brilliant, the way that's been depicted. So that's the Cosmic Tribe Tarot by Stevie Postman. And then in the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle deck, which I featured before, before the card Futility, here it says, are you wasting your time? So again, negative thinking overriding our ambition. But what if it isn't us? What if it's an outside influence? And I say that because if you look at the Osho Zen Tarot, illustrate this point, the card that corresponds to the 7 of Swords is this one. Politics. Don't believe what you're being told. And that is echoed also in the Urban Tarot, which is this one here by Robin Scott. And in the Urban Tarot, find a card for Futility. We've got, let's have a look, we've got the 7 swords the same, although this is actually upside down here. And then it really links to this meaning here of politics, because we're trying to get through the red tape here to get where we need to go. We're being told we can't do this, you know, there's too many forms to fill in. So this is about, you know, this is about bureaucracy. The rule of law is meant to treat us all as equal, but somehow the rules always come down hard on some while bending easily for others. So it's intentionally confusing. Under arcane restrictions, the clever and wealthy can always find a loophole. For the rest of us, there's an endless purgatory of bureaucracy. Our spirit is slowly worn down while we go round and round accomplishing nothing. So with the 7 of Swords, we learn that the same tools that helped us to create order can also perpetuate inequality, create stagnation, and protect the deceitful and immoral from facing consequences. You can't beat the system, they say, at least not without a good lawyer. So that is a little bit of a correlation between those 2 cards that I thought was amazing. So yeah, there we are, being taken advantage of. And here I've got the Oracle of Emanations, Angelarium, Barbieri, and this is Netzach, which is the Sephiroth for all the 7s actually, and this is really, really interesting. So it's about endurance, and the problem with the 7 of Swords is we're struggling to endure, we're struggling to get to the finishing line, we're struggling to get where we want to go. We've taken too much on and we're just not going to make it, are we? So, although this is a clever chappie, if this guy is actually stealing the swords, then what's happened here, another way of looking at it, is the fact that this army has invaded his home, taken over, and he knows he cannot singularly beat this oppressive force. And so he's used his wits, he's used his intelligence here to disarm them by stealing their weapons. So that's crazy, crazy, but very dangerous, but could be very, very effective. So it's using your mind and your intellect to overcome your obstacles, because there's no way you could have endured and won that fight with so many against you. So with Netzach, this is the force that resists. And it says, stalwart in the face of adversity, this great leader carries us forth through our darkest times. Netzach is the strength to endure, regardless of suffering. When we feel we have reached our limits and yet new strength continues to emerge, we find the embrace of Netzach. With any increase in force, he too grows stronger. Each challenge is met with equal vigour. The green orb is both the weight of a great boulder upon our shoulders and the strength needed to carry it. His station is one of constant stress and strain, supporting the weight of the tree by pressing back upward against it. So when the Seven of Swords has us stuck, unable to stay the course, then Netzach encourages us that we can endure. We must think about the consequences and, be able to stay the course, because this actually can indicate a lack of commitment. We're not able to commit. We've got our foot in two camps here. We're not committing to one or the other. We're in between. We've got a foot in both worlds. And so Netzach will give us the strength to endure and not be undermined by temptation. We think the grass is always greener on the other side. But we need the power of endurance to get through this stage. And also, if we have got our foot in two camps, if we are feeling like we need to leave one and start moving towards another way of life, it could be because we're feeling unappreciated or we've just lost interest. We don't feel worthy, and we're actually just trying to avoid a conflict here. Okay, so let's leave the cards for a minute and have a look at the crystals. So we've got Labradorite, which I love this stone with all its little beautiful inclusions. And then we've got silver, and of course I've got my little piece of Moldavite in there, which I've shown before. So here we go. Crystal Magic Tarot. Kerry Ward and Claire Gregory. I'll show you the cards from that for these. So we've got these cards here already. So out of it, there we go. So for the High Priestess we have the Labradorite here. For the Seven of Swords we have silver, and for the Star we have the Moldavite. So Labradorite for the High Priestess here. So it's a beautiful stone here. And I was just taking Crystal Power, Crystal Healing book as usual, Michael Gienger. And the bit that I found that interested me here in relation to this Decan, that it says it's an illusion killer, an outstanding illusion killer, which helps us counteract really the High Priestess hiding things from us, doesn't it? So like its colourful play of iridescence, it clearly shows us our goals and intentions. So we suddenly see their real shape. So that would be really useful. And then for Moldavite, the bit I found that I thought was applicable here is that it gives us inklings of what actual spiritual greatness humans could be capable of. It encourages spontaneous, unconventional ideas and solutions to problems. All things we need when we're in this Decan. Things that can help us. So what does the actual Crystal Magic book, the guidebook that comes with this deck, say about the Seven of Swords? Let's have a look. And silver. Okay. Silver. So you've heard of silver bullets killing werewolves, right? And you've probably seen silver on plasters. Silver is a magical metal, not a crystal, but brings both protection and healing. Silver is strongly connected with the feminine powers of the moon, enhancing intuition and heightening emotions. If you wear lots of silver jewellery, you may even have felt its protective powers, as its heavenly energy makes you feel as though you're wrapped in a safe blanket of divine protection. So, a little bit of a different take on it there, really. So that's my little take on the Seven of Swords in the Thoth, the Rider-Waite Smith, the Urban Tarot, the Cosmic Tribe Tarot, the Osho Zen Tarot, the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle deck, the Vice Versa Tarot, and the Rune, and the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. I think that's everything that I looked at today. I hope you enjoyed this video and it has helped to illuminate the card a little bit more. It's illuminated it a bit more for me, actually, looking at all the different decks and the different ways of looking at this card, and knowing that we need endurance to actually go forward in our lives. You know, we can't stand still. We're like the Chariot, we've got to keep moving, we've got to keep looking at our hopes, our dreams, and chasing them. Because that's what life's about, really, isn't it? It's not about staying still, staying in one position. It is about being able to, at least mentally, move forward and not stagnate, which I think is another meaning for the card. But yeah, that's my take on it, and I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next video, thank you so much for watching. And